I'm so excited to bring to you guys this Leah's Floral Shop project. We've been working on this for over 2.5 years and it's finally open. Today, we're celebrating our grand opening and we're gonna take you guys on a tour of this project. A couple of the key features: this is the first building to be built here in over 20 years. Prior to this building, it's only been a gas station and a convenience store. This is a fantastic opportunity for this community. We're gonna touch on the facade of this building. The outside is designed in a way where it harkens back to what is traditional architecture for this community. As we pan up the street, we can see a lot of shed roof buildings with lap siding. We're addressing that in a way that pays homage to what's existing. But we also wanna make sure that we're addressing this new century, that this is a building that's saying, we're here. So with this tower element mounting at the corner, it's saying we're here, we're proud of what we've created. The geometry of this building is a direct relation to the land itself. As we step down, you can see the building steps. As we have this prominent corner, we created a tower. We tie all of that together with a band across to the awning. And the material that we chose here is a more modern material. We're using hardy board. On the sides, it laps, so it pays homage to the lap siding and the shed roofs of the area around. But at the corner,
We're using large panels for a contemporary look, but it also allows us to play up the tower's verticality. We're breaking that verticality up with banding elements that pull from left to right. The largest of the banding uses the floor break between the first and second floor to define it, pulling from the tower all the way to our bay window. The smaller elements continue our horizontal treatment of our tower, helping to break up the facade and play up the geometry that we've created as the defining element of the architecture.
this is a downtown retail development, and we wanted to make sure that this building addresses that retail. So the walkability was key, and those steps draw you up into the building from the sidewalk. I also drew a lot of inspiration from the Yeti store in Austin, as they do that very similar motion, pulling you into the building. Come on over here. Hey, what do you guys think of this awesome build?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Great. Look at a couple fans and stuff. Oh. Oh, nice.
I'm pretty sure I saw him pull it over there.
Sick. Thank you.
It's the first time I've been here.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So as you can see, this building draws you into the retail section of it, and it's really designed specifically so that there's a walkability aspect and it pulls you in. There's going to be some detractors that say, what about accessibility? And we paired that on the side of the building. The actual parking lot is in the rear, so you come across and drawn into the front. So the left-hand side actually does have that access point for all people. Come on. As we head across the street here, you can see just how this pulls you up and in. As you come into the building, we have this central cooler space. This is one of the key elements that is a focal point. It's on a direct axis with our main entry. So you come in and you get to see what's for sale. But another key element of this building is that we're on 2 steps. We step up from our retail floor to our actual workspace floor, and that's about 2 feet. All of this space, it's a lot more than they used to have, and we wanted to make sure that they can grow into the space, but then also change everything out depending on the season. And that's why we kept this wide open. Headed back up here, you can see this is part of that ramping system. Flanking off that ramping system, we have a space that's dedicated specifically for consulting. We wanted to do that so we have a dedicated space. It's nice and quiet. It's sealed off so that while you're talking about elements of a specific party or event, that you can do that in here. And it's at the same level at the midpoint of our ramp so that we're able to really make that work. Headed back up here, we have our workspace. Off to my left here is dedicated space for developing flower arrangements. On my right here, we have what's known as a wet space. This is for anything that's related to flower arrangements that involves water, and it's all held off on this side. This is all designed in a corridor fashion so that we have walkability all the way around. Because back on this side over here, we have cooler access, and we have our elevator. Because we're such a large building, we're required by code to have an elevator to get to the second floor. And it actually works out very well because they can now move some of these arrangements up and through. We're gonna sneak back through this way, through the cooler. And as you can see, this cooler here has a two-way
passage, therefore making the use of this space much more efficient for the florists as they drop off the finished product and the delivery drivers as they pick it up.
And we're going to show you guys the garage space and the loading and unloading zone. As we come into this space, it really starts to show you how all of this works out. We have trucks for loading and delivery. We have over here our entrance into that cooler space that I showed you before, so that as the arrangements get finished, they're placed in here. When the loading team's ready, they come out and they pick up those arrangements for delivery. Back over here, we have plenty of natural light. That's key. We want to make sure that this space, being a garage, is not just a dark, dank area. We have a lot of space. We have dedicated heaters, so as the guys are working in here, they're not getting too cold in the winter. And then we have some storage in the back, specifically for our team that's going to be delivering the flowers out to you. Dude, thanks for coming out, man. I'm stoked. We're just filming this real quick before Sean has to take off. You can come out for the tour. All right, so we're gonna head up this. This is the rest of our accessible ramp. It pulls us all the way back around. And as we can see, as we hit this corner here, we have this square shape all around our cooler here. And it's an access point. So we have direct access from the front on either side of this, a 2-foot step between the front and the back. And that means you have to have a handicap ramp. And that's like, I don't know, 30 foot long. So how do you get that work inside a building like this? Well, since we have this cooler up here, we wrap it all the way around. And then we also have this access here. So we have this this whole symmetry here. It pulled a little bit away from what we wanted in the workspace. So this got a little tighter, but it still works out. It's like 2 or 3 times larger than what they had originally. And then we have all that natural light that comes in. I tried to save a window from the original building, and it's like a 5x5 window that I wanted in there so that they can show off this, because this is as much of an art as the final product, but they kind of nixed it. They were worried about security, so we ended up just doing smaller clear story windows across the top. Yeah. Oh.
I don't know. How big is it?
7,500 square feet. We're just, it might actually be a little bigger than that. We're just shy of 8,000 square feet. The original design was 8,000. We pared it all back. Yeah, so this is epoxy in the company colors. So so over here, we have an epoxy there as well. And then this is the epoxy, but they chose to do flake. And the rest of the building has that epoxy flake. Yeah. But down here, they want to do the swirls to make it look like marble.
Yeah.
When you walk in and you see right over there, that's in the shape of it's right there. It's in the shape of a rose.
Yeah.
That was not intentional. And there's another one in here somewhere too. But that one, that's like their logo is a rose.
Is it really?
There's a pink rose, yeah. Come on upstairs, everybody. As you come upstairs here, you're greeted in a multi-use space. This is a space that the owners plan to maybe host some events like lessons on how to build floral arrangements, that kind of stuff. And so we created this kind of as a flex space. They can either use it as part of the shop or they can use it as a place to do those kind of lessons. Back over here, we're gonna have a catering kitchen eventually that'll be installed. They were also gracious enough and they really liked the whole project enough that they ended up framing the drawing set that I created for them.
All the great differences are in the church. So Monday to Wednesday are compared.
Headed back over this way, we're back into another production floor area, and as you can see, it's another wide open space so that they have the flexibility to change as business demands change. So there's options for changing things around as the business changes and develops. Back over this way, this is another very interesting part of the building because this is our vestibule for our elevator. As you can see, this is designed in such a way that it's a fire area of refuge in the event of a fire. So if you're in a wheelchair and there's a fire here, you can quickly get over this way, get to a spot where you can wait securely because it is fire and smoke rated, that at that point a fireman could come help you get down, because in the event of a fire you never want to use your elevator. So this is a Lula elevator, and it's not a real, what you think of as like a real commercial elevator. It's a limited use, limited application. So it's designed for handicap accessibility, getting you up from the first floor to the second floor, but they do allow you to get in and out and stay safe. We also have that on the deck on the other side of this project. Before we head outside, I want to point out this window here. While a lot of the windows are in this exact dimension, we actually saved some windows from the original store. They had an addition that was basically a sunroom, and we were able to save a lot of those windows, and we wanted to relocate them in this building, kind of to pay homage to the original building. We weren't able to do that. A lot of the contractors couldn't or wouldn't do that. So this was the only window from the original store that we were able to save. I wanted to point that out for you. And then back out here is basically a deck for everybody to enjoy. It's a place for people to hang out while they're on break or after work. You just get a nice sense of this fresh air out here. We have sweeping views of the neighborhood, and it's just a really welcome, inviting element. I drew inspiration from two things. One being the owners, where they expressed interest in having an outdoor deck like this, and another from a project of mine that I developed in Florida, in Tampa, back when I worked for another firm, and we had an office space and they wanted to have an outdoor deck, and we did a really good job in doing something similar there, and I pulled a lot of inspiration through to this project here and then incorporated it into East McKeesport. I hope you guys liked this tour. I hope you really liked this building and what goes into it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. If you're not already subscribed to this channel, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next video.